Hey everybody, yes, it's your favorite Wow PK. Yes, it's Lady Abdullah, and you guys, I have a special guest with me today. It's my hubby, my husband Kareem Abdullah. Baby, you so fine. Yes, he's mine.
Yes.
Some of you guys don't know that my husband was raised Muslim, and of course, being from two different backgrounds, two different experiences, I bet 100% it was a culture shock. And I mean, really, Khalif, how is it to encourage somebody else whose spouse may have come from a different background, or even someone who is not familiar with Christianity at all? How was it marrying, a little Christian girl like myself? How was that?
It was interesting. I would tell my advice for anyone is to just be flexible and be willing to be a student, because I would just speak from my own experience that it's very different, especially when your first interaction, and the church we went to was non-denominational, so that also helps, and that's actually opens the path for a lot of people into understanding the Christian faith a little better. But I would just say that just coming from a different background, it helps strengthen your faith if you allow it to, because you get to see two different perspectives.
Okay.
So
why do you say that?
Because it shows that there are a lot of things that are similar.
True.
Across different faiths that a lot of people you don't really get to see discussed. So, and it turns out it's just a lot of crossover, and everybody loves a good crossover event. So
that's right. Ooh.
So just with that, it just confirms that you can get information from two different places, from two different individuals who may have never met, but it's still the same, which in my opinion adds on to the validity of what is of the interaction. But going back to like my first time at church, it was if any Muslim out there, that when you go to the masjid or when you go to the mosque, it's quiet, more or less.
Right.
And then you go into the church that we went to, it's very raucous, and that interaction I understand would be jarring for some people, but the way to look at it is that there are two different ways to praise Allah. Like there's ones where these are our raucous brothers and sisters. They're very energetic.
Yeah.
And in that means that he can strike you. Allah can strike you in very different ways, where it makes you have to move and shout, and dance and sing and just celebrate, just completely uninhibitedly celebrate his blessings.
Yeah.
And if you're an individual who is not confident or who is more reserved, it can help tap into a part of you that exists in everyone, where you can just completely unabashedly love God.
Man, that's awesome. That makes me feel good, because I kind of introduced you to a different way of Christianity.
Yes, because even that place being non-denominational, also it helped because there wasn't a lot of I would say pretext for you to engage.
Yeah.
And I think that movement is so important, because a lot of people have been within different faiths have been kind of boxed into a very specific cultural way that you interact with Allah. So it was interesting to see that it's like they people who go to, from my experience, non-denominational churches really take a little bit of something from every background and bring it in with them. But the overarching thing is that it has to put Allah first.
Yeah.
So, but as far as dating a Christian preacher's kid, there were certain little cultural nuances that I had never interacted with before. Yeah. As far as like I was a little bit on the wild side, so with proper church etiquette, and it not necessarily being disrespectful, but just understanding the different ways that you interact with other people. Something as simple as the church hug, where you go from never hugging anyone ever.
Yeah, that's true. That's 100% true.
And especially in
like
more traditional Islam, men and women don't even talk to each other.
Right.
So to go
unless
from
you're
that,
married.
unless you're married. So it's like to go from that to being in the same place, intermingling, and doing the church hug, which is a side hug, and just different things, and kind of moving in that kind of space. It was cool. I liked it.
Good. Oh.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you guys know we did not pre-discuss any of this information. This is straight off the dome, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
I will say, in something that I noticed that when we were dating, that you were the first word that you said when we brought this topic up for today is that be flexible. I appreciate you for being flexible. No, I really do, because there were some nuances that you had not experienced, and the biggest thing is, because I'm a PK, I was taught to, and normally in the African American culture, to not share your business, because it can make your parents look bad, it can make your spouse look bad, it can make your family look bad, and people like to put I don't want to say that in the Christian community, because this is just people in general, they want to label you a certain way. And I think that the struggles that we endured in our dating, because you were labeled as a Muslim and whatever that person's perception of what that meant.
Yeah, with that
and
baggage
ignorance
that it carried.
Yes.
And you even taught me that a lot of that comes from just a lack of interaction.
Yes.
And or overly represented negative interaration.
Right.
And
the same goes for us.
Yeah.
Because what you said, he said his first interaction in a Southern Baptist Christian atmosphere,
it was a Kojic church, actually.
Oh, Kojic, excuse me. And nothing against the Kojic family. We love you guys, But this one particular service that he had went to, the pastor said, "You're going to burn in hell." And it's like, where's the grace? Where's the mercy? Where's the love and kindness? And I think that and that was prior to me. Mm-hmm. But with me, the church that I was attending, I truly felt like they were showing Christ love, where they accepted you and your inquisitive nature about my faith. And it's not just my faith in general, but like the Christian faith. And you were able to be in a free space to explore it so you could enjoy it as well.
And I would also say, be understanding someone else's religious faith, or even being able to pull information from another faith does not diminish the one you already established.
Right.
Me learning about the Christian faith does not make me less of a Muslim any less than her learning about Islam makes her less of a Christian.
Right.
And I think that is imperative in a lot of instances for any kind of fledgling relationship to that's why I said to lead with flexibility, because learning something about someone else doesn't erase who you are. It should enhance it, because you are able to look at the world a little bit wider.
Right.
That's why it is important to interact with people who don't necessarily do everything or weren't raised the exact same way as yourself.
Right.
Now there can be points of tension, but also remembering that there is no such thing as right and wrong in that particular instance, more so than understanding that this individual has lived this way, and then speaking to them, of course, respectfully and with compassion, just like Jesus Christ himself. Because I promise you, he would not, from my understanding of him, would not have had a problem with people of other faiths. Facts.
I mean, when he tells the parable of the three men who were supposed to help someone, and they walked over it because of who he was and what that person believed in, when the reality is that God called us to be a witness. That's what he called us to do, to be a witness. Jesus called us to be a witness. So we need to witness to anybody and everybody. If they're inquisitive, teach it. And showing compassion is the biggest principle Jesus shows us. Yeah. Just showing compassion. That's a really good way to end this segment. I just want to pray for you right now that, Father God, we just want to lift up our brothers and sisters that are either in a relationship with someone who may be either struggling with faith, struggling with what direction to go in, and they want to find something that brings them closer to you, God. And we just say thank you. We thank you in advance for being that whisper, that voice that draws us closer to you, God. And know that you're bigger than a label. You're bigger than just a religion. You're bigger than a church. You're bigger than just a movement, God. You are the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, God. So wherever they may be and whatever turmoil that might be there and trying to make a decision or a pathway, God, you show them the way. You be the light in that darkness. And God, any spouses that may be trying to come together, bring in two different cultures, God. And since it's your will, hey, show them the way, God. Comfort them the way that you comforted us, God. And anything that may need to be revealed, you do that as well. For it be in your will that we have clear vision. And even with a marriage or even with a union, there needs to be a clear vision between husband and wife. Hey, you guys, this was an amazing little segment. Come through, Mr. Abdullah.
So I just say, lead with love.
Yeah.
You know, and if you are pursuing a spouse, your spouse is the number one. So it's between you two. Make it work between you two.
That's right. We sure do.
Yeah.
Hey, love you guys. Continue to be wild for God. Good night.